I'm here with Laura, who you may know from our Atlantic Roots, but this is not Mac and Laura Atlantic Roots. This is Laura because one of the things you do and have been doing for a while, you work for a charity called the Wave Project. Hello, Laura.
Hello there.
What is the Wave Project? Just if no one's heard about it, what's a real brief overview of what it is?
Okay, so the Wave Project is it's a surf therapy charity for children, young people aged between 8 and 18. So essentially, we take young people surfing as an alternative form of therapy. And yeah, just to meet them where they're at. And we work with all different kinds of children. So children with additional needs, children who may have been bereaved, children who are in foster care, or who are struggling at school, children with additional needs like autism and Down syndrome, children struggling with their mental health. So yeah, we take them surfing. It's a pretty cool, unique job.
well, yeah, I don't imagine there's that many. I was chatting with our sensory specialist on a Thursday, and she's a specialist sensory occupational therapist.
Amazing.
And so she talked about surfing off air, about
cool.
how it can be really good. And she said, I can talk to you all about the senses and why that's so good. So I want to do that off the back of this interview. I will say, cool. Right, let's talk surfing, let's talk senses, and how can that help?
That is perfect. That's a perfect segue, definitely.
It is. So what's your part in what it is? Are you on a surfboard? Are you administration? Are you in the office? What do you do?
Yeah. So I'm in administration. So well, technically my job title now is executive administrator, but for the past 6 years I've been PA to the CEO. So I've actually worked in the charity sector for the last 10 years in that role as PA to the CEO. So kind of, been an admin. I'm the admin gal, the gal that answers the phone and the emails and sorts out the CEO's diary and helps keep the board of trustees in check and things like that. So it's quite a cool place to be because our head office is in Newquay, and that's where we live. And but we do have projects all around the country. So we work we work up in Scotland and Ireland and Wales, but we even have projects in like Bristol and London, and we take the children to the beach in London. So we take them to Brighton and pop them in a coach, or we sometimes do stand-up paddleboarding and on the rivers in London. And then in Bristol, there's actually an inland wave pool called the Wave. And we take the young people surfing there at the Wave. And we've seen that we have the same really positive results, even in that it's a man-made setting, the inland wave pool, but the kind of essential elements that make surf therapy work are still there. And I guess you are out in nature to a degree as well. Yeah, you're outside and can still hear the birds sing and see the sky. It is different to being in the ocean for sure. I definitely think that being in the ocean is it is particularly special, but it still works. Taking them to the inland wave pool as well. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Sure. Okay. So what happens? So somebody has got a 12-year-old child and they're thinking, well, I think this would be really good. What's the route into your charity?
Yeah, so this is actually a big part of my job as well. Is these partnerships between the referrer and us, the Wave Project. So what would happen is the young person would have to be referred to us by a professional. So we don't take parental referrals, but obviously a parent knows their children best and a parent or guardian and is able to then approach any professional that they work with. So it could be, for example, a teacher, doctor, social worker, anyone in a professional capacity who's able to say, I think that this is going to be a really positive thing for this child, and then to briefly explain why and gives a little bit more information about the young person. And they contact the Wave Project and become a referral partner, which is free to do. It's just some paperwork that kind of outlines how we're going to work together. And then we send the professional a link to our online referral form, and they're able to make a referral to us. And it's just a really basic referral form. And then what happens is we receive that referral and we find a place for the child, and we work year round, but we don't work so much in the winter because the water is particularly cold in the winter, and we want it to be a positive experience for the young person, even with a wetsuit. But essentially then they are invited onto a 6-session course over 6 weeks. So they'll come to the Wave Project, and it'll be a session will be a couple of hours, and they'll do that for 6 weeks. And then when that 6 weeks is over, if they've had a great time, which oftentimes the young people absolutely love it, and we see amazing results, their confidence is increased. They've often made new friends. And they've achieved something really, really great. And then they're able to join the surf club, which is something that's accessible to them until they're 18. So they can come to that whenever the surf club is running, as often as they'd like. So it's great that it's not just like a 6-week session, 6-week course, and then they're like, that's it, they're gone. If they want to be part of the community continually, they can be up until they're 18. So that's a really, really positive thing. And then the courses as well are mostly funded by the Wave Project, although for sustainability, we do ask the referrer to make a small contribution to the cost of the course, which is a question that we get asked a lot, because we want the courses to be accessible to anybody, regardless of their financial background. And we don't want it to be a case of the children whose parents can afford to send them to the surf therapy, get the surf therapy, because quite often it is the children as well whose families can't afford to pay anything that need the Wave Project. So we do really believe that it is important that the referral organisation sees enough value in the project to contribute something financially as well. So we do have partnerships with NHS, like with doctor surgeries, with schools all around the country, with private private companies as well, who are providing support to young people. And we have lots of people signed up, and they give that small contribution. It's £150, the contribution that we ask for. And then it actually costs around £1,000 per young person per course. Wow. And we fundraise to cover the rest of the course, because there's a lot of, obviously, like equipment, and we have lifeguards present, and we have other members of staff there, surf coaches in schools to deliver the course. But it is also it's a volunteer-led charity in many ways as well. We have over 2,000 volunteers.
Wow.
It's probably gone up quite a lot even actually since I last checked that figure. But we have in every session, one volunteer works one-to-one with a young person. So they've essentially got a buddy and somebody to encourage them, and someone there if they're feeling a little bit nervous or they've got a question, and just for some extra help. So we wouldn't be able to do what we do without volunteers as well.
They make all the wheels turn, don't they?
Absolutely, yeah.
So you talked about the 6 weeks, 2-hour sessions. That's kind of, I suppose, the core beginning, and then this community. But that community is so important, because we live in a society where families and communities are fragmented increasingly. So having something that can further perpetuate that belonging to something in itself can be a healing as well.
Absolutely, that's a huge part of it. There's so it's not therapy in the traditional sense of therapy and how what we associate with therapy, in that, for example, it's not a talking therapy, and there's no aspect of that, and you don't have to be a professional therapist to deliver surf therapy, but one of the big kind of impacting factors of what we do is the fact that we're building community. And there's a sense of belonging for the young people, and that increases their confidence. And sometimes people can find it difficult to make friends, or they might be having a difficult time at school or a difficult time at home. And having that outlet and ability to be able to focus on something together and achieving something together and doing something fun together, regardless of your, the different backgrounds and the different abilities of the people in the group. It's what community is all about, isn't it? It's coming together around a common goal or a common focus, in this case, surfing, and the enjoyment and the love of it, even though you're coming from different backgrounds, worldviews, perspectives. Yeah.
So what is surfing therapy? I mean, I know what surfing is, but what is surfing therapy?
Yeah. So essentially, it isn't anything. Well, the heart of it is actually what we do is we take young people into the sea and we teach them how to surf, not to be the greatest surfer in the whole world, but just to love surfing and to learn how to surf. And so this project was started 10 years ago. And the guy who started it, our CEO, Joe Taylor, he had seen personally the benefits of just simply getting in the sea and learning to surf. And he saw that it could sometimes be quite an elitist kind of thing or like a cliquey kind of community. And he thought, why can't anyone learn how to surf? And actually, I think it could do a lot of good. And he kind of went into it with a bit of it was an experimental kind of thing. And he set up this pilot. What would happen if we took a small group of people surfing? And at the time, it was particularly aimed around, focused on children with disabilities or children who had additional needs. And things like learning disabilities, things like Down syndrome and autism and things. And what would we see if we took them on this 6-session course over 6 weeks? What results would we see? And basically saw these really amazing results. And there's no traditional therapy involved. It is literally just taking them into the sea and teaching them how to surf. But in a particularly safe and encouraging and welcoming environment. So it is different to just going to a regular surf school, because there's been a lot of, well, first of all, there's a one-to-one volunteer for everybody. But the focus is around helping the young person to achieve their goals. And for them, a goal might be actually putting a wetsuit on and just walking down to the ocean, because they might be really nervous about getting in. They might not even like the beach. But it's about helping them to achieve these, what we might think as little goals, but actually they're really big goals, and helping them move forward. I guess essentially it's creating a safe, positive, encouraging environment to learn this new skill in. And the therapy comes in with also aspects like cold water. I don't know if you've heard, if you know much about it, but in Cornwall, the term cold water therapy is something that's thrown around a lot and talked about a lot, because we have it's kind of a big part of our community here. Obviously, we live next to the ocean, and people know what you're talking about when you say cold water therapy. There's so many positive links with getting into cold water in the right way for the right amount of time and listening to your body. But that is an aspect of what we do as well. The kind of invigorating, there's all kinds of science, which I wouldn't want to talk too much about because I don't know that much about it. I'm not that confident about it, but there's all kinds of scientific evidence around cold water being really good for us and for our mental health and our physical health. So that's definitely an aspect of it as well. And like with surfing, you build resilience as you get on your board and fall off of your board, which you will naturally do. And that's a really big part of it. When we call it a wipeout when you fall off your board. When you wipe out, you get a high five when you're doing surf therapy, because it's like if you've wiped out, then it shows that you're a proper surfer now. Everybody wipes out, no matter how great you are at surfing. But the great thing is, when you fall off your board, it isn't failure. It's actually part of the process of being a surfer, and you just get back on your board. So that's a really important part of what we do as well. So I guess it's kind of it's a combination of all of these things: building resilience, building community, having this encouraging environment to learn a new skill in. So in a big nutshell.
There's a big nutshell, a very cold one.
Yeah.
But I could see how just the idea of falling off your board, okay, that's a failure. Well, but no, that's actually part of surfing. And I can work out that is really satisfying to know that you've not failed. You're just, this is part of this, but this thing that we see is a failure. And that's the same in life, isn't it? Things are going to go right and going to go wrong, but some of those wrong things are just a statement, it's proof of being alive.
Absolutely. And yeah, absolutely. I think that's something that we can probably all relate to in different ways. And another thing that's really amazing about surf therapy is the fact that when you're in the ocean and you're in that moment and you're learning to surf and there's a wave coming towards you, you are really fully present in that moment. It's pretty hard to be preoccupied with other things. And for a lot of the young people that we work with, we do have a particular focus now on helping young people who are struggling with their mental health because there's such a big mental health crisis.
Yeah.
And particularly among young people, and the numbers are really alarming. But yeah, because there's so many people struggling with their mental health, we do see a lot of referrals now. But it's great the fact that they're able to get into the ocean and they're able to just focus on that moment and really being present. Because in other aspects and areas of our life, I think our minds are just constantly being pulled in a million directions, and especially social media and screens and things. And we're being like really overstimulated in our brains and just taking on too much. So I think that's a really important healing aspect of surf therapy as well. Is being able to be fully present, and a lot of the children that we work with kind of describe the surf therapy as being really like fully immersive, and this is the place that they feel most free. This is the place that they feel most confident, and it's because they're able to just be a child in the water having fun. And yeah, so that is what it's really all about.
That's fabulous. I love your passion for it as well. How excited you get about it.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's really different. I never thought when I used to live in Rotherham near Sheffield, and I would have, as a kid particularly and a teenager, if someone had said that in the future I'd be working for a surf therapy charity in Cornwall, I would have thought that was super cool.
Well, it is super cool, isn't it? Where can people find out about it? You talked about the referrals and stuff to professionals, but how can people find out more about the organisation, the charity?
Yeah, so they just need to go to waveproject.co.uk. So yeah, Wave Project, not the Wave Project. It is the Wave Project, but our website, just to confuse you all, is waveproject.co.uk. And on there you can find a page that says make a referral, and that page is for professionals. But if you're a parent or guardian thinking this might be good for your young person, if you click on that page, make a referral, it will explain what to do, and you can send that on to a professional. And also there's a contact us page as well, and you're able to just drop us an email with any questions, and it might even be me who gets back to you.
Fabulous. Laura, thank you so much. I remember I heard from you ages ago about this, and I really wanted to talk to you about this project because just the idea of offering help in such a, I was going to say random, that's not the right word, in such a unique way through surfing. I just think it's inspired. So, that's off to the guy that set all this up and thought, let's try this. I love that. Let's have a go. Let's see what we can do with this.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's grown, and it has grown from being a test, like a pilot project in Cornwall in one location, to being in, I think it's currently, I think it's around 12 locations all around the country. And it is growing and the need is growing, but we're hoping to obviously grow to support that need as well, so that any young person anywhere in the country that's that feels that this would be a positive thing for them, that they'd be able to access it. Because obviously currently there are certain parts of the country that we wouldn't be able to accept referrals for because there's not a project close enough. But it is worth reaching out if you are listening to this and think it might be helpful, because there might be a project somewhere close by to you.
Okay, just give us that website one more time for anybody that wants to find out.
Yep, it's waveproject.co.uk.
Thank you, Laura, so much. It's fascinating. I'm finally talking about this. It's really exciting to hear. So thank you so much for your time and talking about the Wave Project.
Yeah, you're welcome.